Rats at chess.com. I'm giving one of my simultaneouses, and it looks like I have about 5 games going, and a number of people I have sent both challenges to and chat requests, and they're not responding. And that's just going to have to answer me. Okay, so essentially what I do is I play as white. I play the King's Indian Attack or Barks' system. It essentially gives you the first 9-10 moves pretty straightforward and easy. You might have to change a few move orders here and there, but not in this case. And here's, like I say, here's the first 7 moves. And at one time, I was leaving this bishop on g5 back on c1. And I'd have trouble getting it developed. Later I would play something like b3, bishop b2, send my rook from a to d1, and drop the bishop back to c1. And I finally just decided I'll just play it to g5 and trade it off. But I don't trade it off until black spends a tempo with h6. And there's one game where this is being prevented. We'll get to that in a second. And now it's my move in this position. It's important to keep a white pawn on c3. This is the strong point. Okay, he's trying to keep me out of c4. So I'm going to come back and comment on this game. Let's just kind of bring them all up to speed here. Make a little comment on all of them because I'm providing video analysis for all of them. Again, here you can see my first moves are coming out just as they have been. You know, the mouse is silly. It's accelerating 2 at a time. It's a stupid mouse. Look at that. I hit it once and it moves twice. Knight b6 is not a normal move against this system. Just like I don't play knight b3 as white usually. But we'll see where this goes. I'm still playing the first 10 moves straight to book. Now, okay, what's going to happen here? At some point, the e file may open up if I take on d5. But I'm not planning to do that because that would activate the black bishop on c8. So also the d file may open up. So you may say I want to get a rook on the d file. Well, actually I want one on the e file here. Just reinforces e4, which can be handy, and it prepares to bring the bishop to f1. So I'll make a move there. Now I haven't commented here. This one I've played the first 10 moves and then some. 10, 11 moves. Let's see. Let's get through this one. Okay, so I'm still playing the system, and now he kicks, and so I've made him spend a tempo to take the bishop, and that's what I want to do. I don't just voluntarily take. And now he's taken, and I need to take back. So now in this case, the first 12 moves are set. Now I played rook fe1, now queen c8. Okay, so I've got e4 overprotected. Now the knight on f1. Or I'm sorry, d2 is free to roam. Now, do I want to put it on c4? And not necessarily. He could kick with b5, and I can't go to e3 because then the pawn on e4 would hang. So I'm going to come back and answer this one as I start working on it. Let me get caught up. Okay, here this guy has stopped me from playing bishop g5, which is fine. I'll just go back to the old system where it comes into play later. And it looks like I have 5 games going. I don't know. Let's see. Versus Gremmel is 1. Versus Lunak, 81 is 2. Versus Skynet is 3. Versus Oxed is 4. And it looks like there's one more game here. Oh, there's 2 more games. I guess I have 6 games going. I've played 6 of 3 times, twice already, and I had a 10 simul last time. I'm sorry for the guys that aren't answering my challenge or my chat requests. You know the time to be here, and the time was here. So now I've upset the count a little bit. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do I have any more? No, I have 6 games going. Okay, I got to move here. Okay, that's a late starter. Okay, so now back to this game. So he's taken c4 away. I was planning knight c4. I don't mind that he took it away. What do I want to do here? Well, let's see. C5 is loose. I I don't really want to play knight b3 and then take on d4 because it opens up the b4 square for his knight. Plus, it opens up the c file, which would expose my queen. Now, do I want to play a move like a4? And that allows a6, and if I take twice, I mean, take on b5, he takes back on b5. Rook takes a8, queen takes a8. He's on the a file. I can't really oppose that. Plus, one drawback with playing a4 is it weakens the b3 square, and this can come into play when the black bishop is on e6 as it is here. So let's see. What do I want to do here? I need to find some kind of an active plan here to continue my development. I can move the rook on a1, and he's not threatening a2 because he would get his bishop trapped, I believe. My bishop on f1 isn't doing me much good. It usually doesn't, but it does overprotect d3. So if I put it on f1, that might be good because see my knight on d2 can go to f1 and I can't really go anywhere else. So I'll just play a waiting move here, bishop f1. Not much is going on here. I'm basically giving an even game here. Okay, now queen c7. Again, I'd like to play something like knight c4 and knight e3, but the pawn on e4 hangs. So I'm going to just develop a rook. He'll probably do the same. Can he get a bishop to c5 and knight g4 in? Would that be a nuisance for me? Probably not. I can cover the bishop c5. I can kick with knight b3, and after bishop b6, knight here. I don't know. I think we'll just wait developments. Developing a rook's not going to be bad. Okay, so he's copying me here. And now I need to play queen c2. And there's the tempo spent, so now I take the knight, and all goes according to plan. Now e4. Now it's interesting. He can play d4 here too, and I'm a similar as in the other game. Okay, so now we both castle. And he did play d4. Okay, so I don't really want to play a4 here and stop b5. I'll just do what I did in the other game, and we'll wait developments. Okay, rook d1. I want to maintain my strong point of c3. Let's see, I think it's my move over here. No, it's his move. No, it's my move. Okay, now I'll just go through a d3. I could play c4 here going into symmetrical English, but I'm trying to stay consistent here. Now, can I get e4 in? Pawn takes, knight takes. Now, yeah, I can play it because I have 3 defenders on e4. Okay, so I'm okay to play e4 here. And I've got everybody's clock ticking, and just have to go from there. I don't know what happened to the people that I sent challenges to. I sent you guys challenges. I posted on the group wall and in the forum thread topic. Okay, so now he takes and I take. Now I'm maintaining e4. I'm holding on there. So rook a c8. Now once again, I don't want to open up the c file, especially with his rook going to c8. So I'll just kind of follow suit with what I was doing in the other game and bring my bishop to f1. Could there be a problem with bishop g4 pinning my knight? Well, if that happens, that happens. Okay, so now he's on d3. Now let's see. Is this a position I want to play knight h4 in? That helps overprotect e4. Or do I want to, like say knight c4, b5. I can't play knight e3. I could play knight d4, which invites him to weaken either d5 or f5 with c5 or e5. I've got e4 covered. I think if I play bishop c1, or bishop f1, not c1, f1, I'm just trying to think the idea here. Where's my bishop plan to redeploy to? I can't can't play e5. I just have to make sure e4 doesn't fall under pressure. Like, for instance, if I play bishop f1 and I move my knight on d2, can he take on d1 and deflect me from guarding the pawn on e4? So this might be a position where I want to go ahead and play knight d4 and invite him to make a weakness in his position with either c5 or e5. So I'll try an experiment here. Not sure if I've tried this plan before, but this is what we're trying to do, learn opening together, right? You study all my games, you'll see my ideas. Okay, so now I don't want to take on f6 until he spends a tempo. Yeah, I could take it, but there's no point. You want him to spend a tempo first. Okay, so here I'm just going to swing my rook over to d1, ad1, getting my development complete. Okay, now he played d5, so it's a symmetrical position, but he's actually got a little more turf space than I do. Okay, now let's overprotect the pawn on e4 and start looking at options. Okay, g5, interesting move. What's he trying to do? Is he trying to attack my king? It might be a little premature for that. Okay, what has this done? This has weakened. This has weakened the f5 square. So, like for instance, now could I play a move like knight c4? Knight c4 doesn't really attack anything. He's got e5 covered, so he could play b5, and then my knight has to go back. It doesn't really do me much good. So if he gets g4 in, the knight can go to e1 and then g2. I don't want to weaken myself with h4 here. I think a good waiting move is simply bishop e2. This breaks a potential pin and can provide some pressure on g4. Okay, so I'll play that. Now he's castled. Now, once again, the dilemma: do I want to play knight c4 here? And here comes b5. Well, I could play a4 to stop that. I've done that before. But this is one of those positions where my bishop on b2 is not getting developed. So, or c1. So I'm going to go ahead and develop it with the old plan: b3, bishop b2, rook ad1, then drop the bishop back. I've got e4 covered. Yeah, this will work. This will be my plan here. Okay, he did kick, and now I come back to e1. Okay, this is fine. Okay, now I've got a little bit of pressure on g4. The knight can get to g2. I could get the other knight to f1, which will help batten down the hatches in case he somehow concocts a kingside attack. Let's see, is it my move anywhere? No, not yet. Okay, let's see. So h5, here it comes. So he's trying h4. If that's what he wants to do, I'm going to let him. At some point, I might need to consider shifting action back over to the king side. Okay. I could play f3 or f4 here. The idea behind that is, well, f4, he might take on on f4 with a z pawn, and that clears e5 for a piece. It also might weaken my position. I don't want that e5 pawn. I want that e5 pawn to stay there. But if I play f3, I invite him to make an exchange that develops my piece, and I get the half-open f-file. Yeah, I'm just going to play f3 here. Okay, that makes logical sense. So, just sit here and wait for people to move. It's too bad I got another 4 challenges out there that aren't being accepted. I can't challenge you again. I've sent you chat requests, and I've sent you all chat requests and challenges. What can I do? I can't make you accept. I've posted on the group wall and in the group forum topic that I've sent these challenges. Okay, so here, c6. Okay, so now I go through with the system. Knight bd2. Okay. Here, let's see. Let's kind of look at these things. Yeah, I'm going through the old system here. Bishop b2. Okay, so knight d4 was designed to partly overprotect e4, but also to try to induce black into making some kind of a weakness in this position with e5 or c5, which would give me control over some pressure on some of his light squares on my fifth rank, b5, d5, and f5. Okay, so he's put a rook on c8. Well, I'm not opening up the file. Let's see. e4 is well secure. Do I want to play knight f1 with the idea knight e3 here? It's one luxury I can do in this type of position, knight f1, knight e3, rather than and save the bishop f1 maneuver for later. Okay, what am I missing? Bishop c6. He could play bishop c6 and pressure e4, but I should be okay against that. I'll just maneuver. Okay, now knight g4. What's wrong with this move? Okay, what's wrong with this move is moving a piece twice in the opening. That doesn't mean it's a bad move. It means that he's also uncovering an attack on c3. I mean, sorry, b2. So if I play c3, he could kick my bishop with h6, and I could invite him to weaken his pawns. Of course, he could play h6, and if I play bishop f4, he can play e5, and it goes back to e3, and he takes it. He gives me some double pawns. But then I get a half-open f-file. And since I'm prepared to part with this bishop anyway, I'm willing to accept that trade and take the double pawns because I'll have a little bit of action. Okay, so at b5, he played similar to the other guy, put the pawn on b5 to keep me out of c4. Okay, so now what if I play knight g2 here and try to do a little maneuvering? So this clears my rook to come back to f1 if need be. Okay, rook b8. What's he threatening? No, he didn't advance a pawn. Now that I have got e4 overprotected, and there's an annoying pin on that pawn, maybe now is the time to move my queen. Where could I put it? I could put it on a5 or a4. Am I really threatening the pawn on a7? So just imagine white having two moves in a row. Queen a4 and queen takes a7. Now he plays rook a8. And my queen's trapped. So no, I'm not really threatening anything there. The queen going to b3 might be appetizing. Let's see. Puts a little pressure on e6. So, putting the queen on b3, do I really want to advance my pawn to e5? Well, maybe. E5 attacks his knight, gives him the d5 square, and then my knight can go to e4, which is a terrific square. His knight on d5 doesn't really have any forward squares. So I'm going to go ahead and play queen b3 here, and just break that pin and await developments. Okay, queen d7, what's he trying to do? Trade off my bishop? Well, he's more than welcome to. I'll just do what I did in the other games. Actually, what I can do, I can play knight b3 here. That pressures c4. I'm sorry, c5. Makes him maybe play bishop e7 or queen d6. Then it might be a position where I can trade off on d4. I wasn't wanting to do that earlier, but I'll Just play it as it goes. Okay, so he takes advantage of a pin. But where's the knight headed? The knight's not headed anywhere. I'll just develop my bishop according to plan. Okay, bishop b2. Okay. Now he did play there, so now he's weakened his king position just a little bit. Now, can this pawn become a target? Let's see. Wait, I'm not sure where that went, so to avoid a mouse slip, I'll put him back here. Bishop f4, e5, bishop e3, takes. He plays queen b3. And there's a win of a piece. I mean a pawn. Maybe I dropped a pawn here. Let's see. Bishop f4, e5. That shuts his bishop down. Bishop e3. Knight takes e3. F takes e3. Queen b6. Am I going to drop a pawn here? It's a good question. Am I going to drop a pawn here? I don't know. I might be dropping a pawn. But it shouldn't be too big of an issue. Let's see. Got to try to sort this one out. Not, knight g4 can't be a great move, but maybe I made it a good move. I don't know. So let's see, what kind of compensation can I get? I mean, I can let him take on b2, I suppose, right? And let's see. Not quite sure here. So this came out of a symmetrical position. Then when I played my fifth move, d3, he went with d5, right? And I went ahead with bishop g5, and he so let's see. Always play h3. He takes on f2. I take. He takes my bishop. And I take on g5. I could run into some pressure there. Bishop h6. Yeah. Not sure what I want to do here. Let's see. I want to play h3. Bishop f4, e5. I'll get him have e5 in. Takes, queen b6. Now I don't want to really play d4. Play king f2. Yuck. Block that file. He snatches a pawn on b3. But I'm going to get some development here. Queen b3, queen takes, a takes. Yeah, I'll just accept the pawn down and try and keep a development advantage. Not quite sure about that one. Okay, so we'll just accept it and put the bishop on e3 and let the chips fall where they may. Okay, now do I have any moves anywhere else? Okay, he did play bishop g5. Okay, so now is he threatening to stick it on e3? Well, not really. This is the kind of position I could even play f4 in maybe, but I don't want to clear e5 for one of his pieces. Let's see. So my candidate moves rook f1 and knight f1. Knight f1, the thing I don't like about knight f1 is where does the knight go next? Rook f1 might give me a chance to play queen d1. And I don't care if he takes on d2. Let's try that. Let's try rook f1 here. Okay, a6. Okay. Now that, what was I doing here? I was planning to, wasn't sure what I was planning to do. So I don't want to really push a4 or e5 and give him that long diagonal. Is he planning c5 here? That is a good question. A lot of times what I do is I play something like f3 here and just bolster those pawns and redeploy my bishop. I think I'll go ahead and do that in this position. Now if e5, my knight might go to f5. It might even go back to c2, hitting e3. So I'll play f3 and because I rely on that pawn structure a lot. Okay, he did play bishop c6, pressuring e4. Okay, so let's see. Does he really have a lot of pressure there? I think I was talking about this. If I play knight e3, the square hangs. Okay, so do I want to take on f6? That takes some of the pressure off. Bishop takes f6, bishop takes f6. What do I do next? Not sure. I could also, I like to get a tempo if I can. Let me think. What looks good here? I've got all my pieces developed. I want to play knight e3, but I can't. Can I do anything with my king knight to support e4? For instance, knight h4. Now if he plays h6, bishop takes f6, bishop takes f6, my knight's on the take. Would give me double pawns. I can bring him back to f6. I could also play knight fd2. That's an interesting line. Knight fd2 protects e4 and gets ready to bring a knight into e3. I'm just maneuvering in an even game. Okay, I'll try that. Okay, so now he played bishop f6. He's relying on a pin. Is he attacking anything I should worry about? No. I will just play rook d1, rook ad1. Now, and I may be getting my queen off that diagonal here in a moment. Let's see. Before I do this, is there any position where I can give up the queen for 3 minors? Okay, pawn, or do I get 3 minors? Pawn takes knight, bishop takes queen, pawn takes knight. His bishop retreats. I don't get it. Okay, I'll just follow through with the normal lines I was planning. Okay, he took. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to drop a pawn here. Let's see. Is it my move here or is it his move? Okay, good. He's finally taking his time. Last time I had one guy play blitz chess against me. He won and they later banned for cheating. I was kind of chastising him. I say, fine, if you want to play fast, you'll probably run me out of time because I'm spending a lot of time thinking along these things. But what are you learning? Why are you playing quick? Okay, he guarded c7. Now the question is, or c5, do I want to take on d4? It opens up the c file. Let's see, pawn takes. You can trade a knight there, and I'll take it off. It opens up the c file. It gives his bishop on e7 a little more scope. It gives him the b4 square, but my queen has e2. And he's not on the c file. I'll just go ahead and take. Usually I keep this square, but I'm going to do it a little differently. Okay, f5. Now this is very interesting. He's going to give me the outpost e4. Or is he? Let's see. Wow. Okay, this is intriguing. There's definitely a lot to this. He's got a little more space. I've got a solid game. I could play f takes g4, and if he takes f takes g4, okay, rook takes, rook check, queen takes, rook f1. I don't really have any squares for my pieces. I can take on f5. If he takes with the bishop, I can plot my knight in on e4. I kind of like that idea. Yeah, I'm going to do that. See, pawn takes, bishop takes. I can bring the knight in e4, and if he takes it, that's fine. Okay, now there's the tempo we want. Okay, now I take the knight. Okay, see, better than me taking it directly. Okay, c5. All right, now I see that was one of the reasons he played a6 was to prepare c5. Now, what was I saying? I can bring the knight back to e2 or c2. Where do I want to put it? From c2, it can go to e3. From e2, it can go to f4. Let's go to c2. Okay. He took back with the bishop. Now I can get knight e3 and hooray. Okay. So I haven't achieved much, but that's what I've achieved. Okay. Now I can take advantage of the pin and force him to move his knight. Does his knight have a good square? I can also play a move like knight c4. Queen c1 gives up d3. Can he get there with a knight? No, he can't. So queen c1 forces him to move his knight on d5. Normally, what I like to do here is play bishop c1 and use the bishop later, but c3 is hanging. And I'm just going to break the pin on general principles and come back to this game. Sometimes you can... Okay, so fine. He's going to win a pawn. I don't care about that. I'll just bring my king up and let the queens trade, and I'll get some open lines. Okay. Okay, he took with the rook. Now I get knight e4 in. Suddenly I have a square for my rook. I mean my knight. Then I'm attacking c5 for what it's worth. I could have taken... I've kind of moved a little quick here. Could I have taken on g4? But not really. There's going to be a discovery trick on my rook. I'm happy with this. I got the knight in. My knight's centralized. It's got a good outpost. He can't take it this move. Had he taken with the bishop, he might have. Maybe he's trying to double up. But I've got a little tempo gainer on c5 unless he can sacrifice that pawn. And okay, he took. Okay, now we just play queen b3. Or let's see, where does this queen get out? It's a good question. Can't play queen b3 here. My c pawn is hanging. Okay, so that's fine. Queen takes b2, and it's my move. I don't know. What happens if he takes my c pawn? I can't take my c pawn. I can. I think I should have played bishop f4 first and forced e5, but that's okay. Let's see. His queen, one of these things about snatching these pawns is that these queen knight pawns is that the queen goes out of play, and is he threatening anything I should worry about? Let's see what do I want to do here. I was looking at a line where I'd stopped on f4 first, and I forgot it because I forgot this diagonal is opening up. Okay, he's on c3, no big deal. It's just a pawn. If I play rook c1, which pawn is he going to snatch? The a pawn, well, his queen stays out of play. The c pawn, he can run into trouble trying to guard that bishop. No, just let him have the a pawn. I don't care about pawns here. Okay, so let's see. There he retreated his knight. Now his knight doesn't have really any squares to go to. The pressure is off e4. The pressure's off the long diagonal. Where do I want to redeploy my pieces to? Okay, knight c4, b5, knight e3. Might have the idea of knight g4. Okay, let's try that. Okay. Whose move is it anywhere? Let's see. Okay, good. This guy's taking his time. Well, it's gone now. Let's see the time here. Okay, knight g6. That he's trying to get. Is he trying to get a knight to e5? See, the potential drawback with that move is that he's, where's he going to put his knight next? Okay, now he's got control of e5. If I push, I drop a pawn, but I'm not trying to push. I'm trying to remaneuver here, which is the whole point of knight c3 or knight c4. Now, because I want to get the knight to e3, and if I play knight e3, does he play knight e5? Knight g5. I could take it. He takes. I could play f4. I'm just going to go ahead with knight e3 here. He can't pin it with bishop g5. So knight here. And I got everybody thinking. Okay, let's do a quick look at time. Okay, I've used 18 minutes. He's used 30. Good. He's taking his time. Okay, you want to take your time. You don't want to move fast. Carlos is taking his time, which is good. This is where you get the practice of an intense struggle. Okay, now I want to make a threat. The threat is to win a pawn. Knight g4 threatens knight takes f6, followed by queen takes h6. Okay, so first off, we're trying to drive his bishop off that diagonal. I don't know. Do I want to do that? Yeah, let's do it. Okay. Okay, he pushed. Now I have c4. Now knight takes, b5. My knight can go back to d2. Okay, so this will be fine. Okay. So time. Let's see. Skynet's taking his time. I'm on time pressure anyway. Like I say, if you want to get a win against me, play quick. And because I'm spending time looking at everybody's game, I'll not spend a lot on yours, and my time will tick down. But the risk you run is that you're playing quick. You don't play good moves. So, what was that guy? Mini Java. He played very quick against me, gained time on the clock, and destroyed me. Then he was banned for cheating. I didn't even turn him in. I don't know what happened there. So, what's the point of cheating me? You want to sit down and think of a long game. Okay. All right, so he didn't grab either pawn. He's got some pressure on e3. He can't really assault it too easily. He's behind in development, so for a pawn sacrificed, I've got some play here. Now, I think the move I'm looking at is c4, because c4 tries to open up lines. If he takes, my knight gets back into play. Yeah, I think c4 just makes positional sense. Okay. So let's see. I played knight c4, and he didn't trade. He went back to d2. Okay. So is this position I want to anchor the knight in with a4? It might be. Let's do it. See what happens. Okay. So he retreated his bishop. Now, there is potential sacrifice if I want it. Knight takes h6, pawn takes, queen takes h6. What am I threatening? Don't really have a lot of activity there. It's interesting sacrifice. Wow. Let's stop and take a look. Somebody's moving against me. I hear these ticks. Okay, he took there. Now I got to take with the... which knight do I want to take with? Let's take with the B knight. Now he'll take with the pawn. Okay, now let's see. A6, so he's planning to play B5. So this is a position where I can play A5, I believe. And that gives them the B5 square back, but I'm not too worried about that. I keep my knight anchored on C4. A little positional thing. Now, here I was thinking of a sacrifice. Let's see, is it my move here? No, it's his move. I don't think it's my move anywhere. Let's see. Oh, he played Queen E7. Okay, he's guarding it now. He's guarding C5. Okay, now let's see. Pawn takes. Pawn takes. I can take on G5 if I want. Do I really want that bishop off there? You know, it just restores the balance of bishops. Not sure what I want to do here. How much time do I have? 70 minutes. I got plenty of time. Okay, I'm going to kind of flick around a little bit. Sometimes I'm ready to move and sometimes I'm not. Okay, rook D8. Not biting on taking on C4 and developing my knight for me, which is fine. So let's see. He didn't develop a piece. His whole queen side is undeveloped. Is he trying to get... I got to blunt his bishop on the long diagonal. I think I'll play D4 here. D4 maybe with the idea C5. Somebody took something. I heard the capture. Okay, he took with the E pawn. He didn't take with the C pawn. Okay, that's fine. Gives him a possible C4 break later. Let's see. A4, A6, pawn takes, pawn takes. Doesn't really do anything except weaken B3. I could play B3 myself. Well, that weakens C3 and just invites a break of A5, A4. Got to try to activate my knight somewhere. We can go to E5, but where's he go next? Back to F3. That's no good. Darn, not sure here. Maybe what I need to do is just stretch my legs. I have to do this every hour or so. It just helps me get my blood circulating. I heard a tick. Oh, he played B5. So now the defense is to play en passant and keep the C4 square. Okay, but I did give him B5. Okay. Whose moves where? Is it my move anywhere? He played B5. Okay, what was my last move? Knight C2. The idea was to go to E3, right? Right? So I put him back on E3. Go from there. Heard a tick. Whose move is it where? Okay, here I was talking about a sacrifice. I haven't moved yet. Though I want to play a sacrifice. I mean, I get 2 pawns for it, but what else do I get into play? Knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes. Now it'd be great if I could play C4 and checkmate him. C4, assuming I get 2 moves. C4, he plays knight D4, knight takes, pawn takes. I'm on that. He could also play bishop F1 and drive me out. What do I want to do here? What do I want to do? I don't know what I want to do. I could play C4 here. That's kind of rare. The idea is queen C3. since I have control over d4. Normally I don't like to give up d4 and b4. But c4, he could play knight b4, and he's attacking both d3 and a2. I can throw a tempo, queen c3, threatening a mate. He can't play knight takes a2 because of the mate, and I can kick him out. I really don't like pushing that c-pawn. If I do it at all, I like to do it when it's to my advantage. How about if I play a move like h4? That takes squares away from his pieces and maybe threatens to stick it on h5 for what it's worth. Yeah, let's just try that. Sometimes you don't know exactly what you want to do. You just have to experiment. Okay, so h4. Now he took back with the knight. Now I can take and bring my knight into c4 with tempo. Knight takes b6, queen takes knight c4. Not really gaining much. Let's see. But you don't gain anything that's open. This opening is equal. You play it, you get an equal game. But you don't get stuck playing against somebody's mainline defenses to e4 and d4, where they know them far better than you. I like the fact that I have the c4 square. I can start targeting a6 perhaps. I just like the idea of getting this knight in play, so I'll take it and put the knight on c4. Now it's still my move here, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I haven't taken my walk yet. He's not really planning c4. Somebody captured something of mine. I heard it disappear. Did you hear it too? Okay, so let's see. Man, I just started the tape 47 minutes ago. I mean, it took about 15, 20 minutes before I got it started. But anyway, how about if I just follow general principles and get the queen off the c file? And queen d2, bishop g4, attacks my knight, planning bishop g5. Not sure if I want to do that or step into a pin. Rook ac1 hangs a2, but he can't save it. I'm just, I was against b3. b3, a5. He's planning a4. But that's going to give me the c4 square at some time. a4, a6. I could always play a5. That shuts the a file down. Gives me kind of an awkward pawn on a5. I don't get control of c4. b3, a5, a4. That's interesting. Yeah, let's try it. b3, a5, a4. If pawn takes, I take the pawn. And the b file's up for grabs. He plays rook a b8. I play rook a b1. If he takes, I take. a4 becomes a weakness. But a5 is weak. Even game. That's is trying to create some kind of opportunity somewhere on the board. Objectively, I need to leave those queenside pawns where they're at. He's not really threatening anything. So what I need to do is redeploy on the king side. How about knight e1? The idea knight e1 is that, although I can gain a tempo with knight e5, knight e5 and f4. Knight e5, queen d6, f4. Now the idea is I'm going to bring the knight back to f3. Yeah, let's do that. Knight e5. Let's just play it and see what happens. Okay, now I got knight c4 in. Okay, now he went there. Now he's on my queen. Okay, so you're on my queen. I'll put it back on this diagonal. I got to make sure I don't hang e3. My king can go to h1 in a hurry. Okay, queen c2. Now let's see. Bishop e6. Does that do anything? He's threatening to take a pawn. c5 here. What do I want to do here? c5 just gets a little space. I don't know. Let's see. One of my other candidate moves here. I don't know. I like c5. And I'll get back on the. I'll use the open b file. Okay, so bishop c6. Now, the rook on a1 is not doing me much, so. Or no, bishop c6, queen c7. Let's put the rook back on a1. See where that goes. Okay, rook a1. Attacking a pawn. Okay, h5. Okay, now I've caused him to create a weakness. Is that worth anything? Okay, where do I want to put the knight? Well, he came from e3, so let's send him back there. h2 doesn't seem to go anywhere, although I could be planning knight g5. I kind of like the idea of sticking him on h2. It's not something I've really done before, but I'm planning, yeah, I can still get to e3 if I have to get back there. Let's just put him on h2 and let the chips fall where they may. Okay, queen c7 here. So now I've got the open b file for what it's worth. I got the open f file if I can ever use it. I could get an e4 in at some point. Maybe I see. Gotta get this knight on d2 into play. You can get into play with d4, e4, but then I'm hanging d4. Or no, I'm not hanging d4. What about e4 here? That's an interesting move. e4. It opens up the diagonal for his bishop, though, on e6. Queen c2, queen b3. Queen b3 does protect e3 a little bit and put some pressure. Yeah, just queen b3. Put some pressure on b7. Just wait developments. Okay, so after thought, he went queen e7 here. Or is it still my turn? No, I still haven't decided what I want to do. Okay, my bishop on e2 is bad. I need to activate it. A take on g4. It just gives it more scope. Okay, go from there. Now watching my clock. I think it's everybody's move. Hooray. Okay, so that's what you want. You want to take your time. Good. He's taking his time. He spent 45 minutes, plus he's gained 20 moves. He's gained 11 minutes on his increment. So good. He's taking his time. And this is when the first game started. He's taking his time. He's taking his time. He's taking his time, which is good. This is one that's going a little quick. So Let's see, there was one other game down here. Let me come back. He's not going as quick. Let's see. I heard a tick. Which game did I hear a tick in? Knight d7. Okay, now, what's his knight threatening? Anything I should worry about? My knights kind of aren't doing much here. How about knight e1 with the idea of putting it on d3 and seeing where it can go from there? That kind of makes a little certain positional amount of sense. Yeah, I'll try that. Okay, let's do a little maneuvering here. Okay, he put the bishop there on b5, a square that I gave him. Now here's a case where maybe I can take on d4. Let's see. Because he can't really use the b4 square here. So I'm just going to take on d4 because I can. If I use this C file. Okay, there's the pin that I was worried about. But my king can just go in the corner. And I can overprotect things. King h1 is a nice safe move. Okay, king h1. Alright, now I play f4. This was the whole idea here. Now could he play g4? g5. That might weaken him a little bit. But if he does it, he does it. I'm kind of committed to this. Okay, so f4. Okay, f6. Now that weakens e6. It also stops my knight from getting to g5. Okay. So I'll just play knight f1 here. And consider ways to try to attack h5. How can I attack h5? With a bishop on f3, which means that knight has to move somewhere on f3. Or if he takes on d1, I can take with the queen. He attacks the queen, I go to e2. Well, the knight's on h2 is not doing me much good. I just need to play to f1, and we'll play positionally here. Sometimes these moves kind of find themselves. Okay, now is he threatening anything I should worry about on c4? Bishop takes, pawn takes. You can win a pawn. I'll be darned. Okay, so just b3, and we'll see what happens. Okay, did he move here? Yes, he took. Okay, now taking on g4 is a blunder, I believe. Rook takes, and g4 hangs. But I can take on f5. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just take on f5. Okay, now he brought the knight over to f6. What's he threatening? Knight g4, check. Let's see. I need to just get the king back to g1 and not weaken myself with g3. Yeah, I'll just get the king out of there. Sometimes you can use common sense on these things. Kind of hated putting that king up on f2 to begin with. Okay, now he's attacking that critter, so we get the knight out of there. Okay, knight f3. Voila. Okay. Now he played knight e5. Is he threatening anything I should worry about? I don't know. Let me just get up and walk, and I'll carry this position in my head. I have a new set of wireless headphones, so when I take a walk, I can keep recording. And there's a tick of my move somewhere, not sure where. So let's kind of carry this position in my head, play a blindfold strategy. What's weak in the black position here? E6 and H5. If I let him take on f3, that lets my bishop attack his pawn on h5. You want to make exchanges that develop your pieces, not those of your opponent. So if I want him to take on f3, it's okay. I want to consider ways to where he'll improve the position of my pieces. So, for instance, if he does take on f3, then my bishop could retake and be pressuring h5. My queen's a little misplaced on c1, so a good candidate move is something like queen e3. The nice thing about that is it also clears c1 for the bishop, because the bishop was designed to redeploy back to c1 and get in the game later. So queen e3 kind of makes a certain amount of sense. Now, do I want to take on e5 in any circumstance? That just brings his knight on c6 into e5. And I'm not sure where that knight on c6 is going, so why not just leave it there? These are the kind of things that you think about when analyzing a position, like how can I keep my opponent's pieces restricted while improving the position of mine? And when you don't make moves like this, it can mean the whole difference of the game. You just don't get a kind of position you can win from. You give a comfortable position to your opponent, and even though he may only be rated 200-300 points under you or whatever, you give him an easy game, and you're going to have to count on him making a horrible blunder to win the game. Whereas you can just slowly and methodically outplay somebody if you keep your pieces on the board and get them to the right square. So since black has a couple of weaknesses right now, h5 and e6, I can't exploit either one right now, but maybe I can exploit them down the line. His bishop on h7 could e6 at some point and cover that pawn, and his e6 pawn could go up to e5, and now the weaknesses are covered. But e6 no longer becomes a weak, but he's weak on those that light square diagonal, and h5 does remain a problem. I could maybe put a battery on it, bishop on f3, queen back on e2, and pressure that h5 pawn. That's certainly a potential, and he could bring his bishop back to f7 and push g6, and then the bishop kind of gets misplaced, and then f6 becomes weak and requires a whole new set of maneuvering. So there's definitely a lot of potential in a position like this. Matter of you don't have to sit here and calculate this thing out, like what the position is going to look like in 10 moves, because it's next to impossible to analyze 10 moves out with all the myriad of possibilities. But if you just go through structure, a structured approach of what's weak, how can I deploy my pieces so that I can pressure those and put my opponent on the defensive, and if he doesn't defend it, things can go wrong. It puts a lot of pressure on him to perform and get the moves right. So it's not an easy task to defend a position when you have a weakness or two. So what I want to do here is maybe make some exchanges, but have it where it redeploys my pieces. I don't mind if he takes on f3, because that gives me another attacker on the h5 pawn. So queen e3, if knight takes, f3 check, bishop takes f3, my queen's ready to go to e2 and attack the pawn. After so right there, there's a chance for black to go wrong. Now, there's nothing forcing black to do that, but what I'm doing is I'm getting my pieces lined up and giving them a chance to go wrong. And sometimes that's how you win a game. You give your opponent a chance to go wrong, and he will. The games objectively are all still even though I'm down a pawn in one. I've got unclear compensation for it. It's a long way off the result. I've got a double pawn. I've got a half open F file. I've got a half open B file. That's about all I have. But there's basically no real tangible advantage or disadvantage anywhere yet. And having 6 games and approximately an hour give or take, in every position, I have time to find things. Okay, so what I was saying is queen e3. If he takes on f3, I can take with the bishop, and I'm pressuring h5. And if bishop g6, my queen can go to e2, and I think he drops a pawn. Is he threatening knight d3 here? That's another question too. Yes, he is. So that's one reason why queen e3 is the correct move here. Can he play knight g4? Yes, he can. Then I bring the queen to e2, and I may put the knight back on h2. So queen e3 is my move here. I have 50 minutes left. Okay, what did he play? He played e5. Now, that gives me the f5 square. I can also pressure him. Yeah, that's not a good move, Carlos. Gives me bishop h3, getting your rook off that half-open file. And if you put your bishop on d7, I'll trade it, and I think I'll win a pawn, and my knight's better than your bishop. So bishop h3 here. Okay, rook a c8. He's planning to play c4. Now, is this a position where I want to play e5? It gives him the d5 square. It opens up this long diagonal. Is he planning c4? The answer is he might be. So b3, c4, pawn takes, pawn takes. He's crawling all over it. Now he's off the a file. Is this the time to play a4? I want to play a move like f5. f5 entombs my light squared bishop a little bit, but it gets his bishop off an active diagonal. Decisions. Take some pressure. Okay, a4, a6, pawn takes, pawn takes. Now f5. This bishop goes back to d7. Yeah, my bishop is just so bad. But I've thwarted the. One drawback with him pushing d4 is it weakens d4. So, in a way, I don't want to advance either one of those pawns on e5 or f5. They're controlling a lot of squares. Just keeping them there makes a certain amount of sense. There's no need to try to force the issue. I mean, rook a c1, c4. He's not threatening any discovery because I can take on, by taking on d3, because I can take on c7 first. a4, a6, pawn takes, pawn takes. I like the idea of opening up the file. I could play rook a6 and threaten to double. Yeah, let's do that. I mean, rook a6 just, you can't chase it out too easily, and I'm getting ready to pressure him on that file. Okay, so a4 here. Now he played bishop d7. I was talking about that. I think that drops a pawn. Okay. Now there he lined up on the knight. Well, that's okay. I can cover the knight. Or the knight can move. Where would it move? Back to f1. Okay, let's see. Which knight's going to go to f1? The d knight or the e knight? The e knight goes to f1. Where does it go next? The d knight goes to f1. Where does it go next? Well, it doesn't just yet, but I'll find a way. Okay. Just play maneuvering here. Now, if he takes on d1, okay, rook takes d1. If I take with the rook, I drop a piece, right? Because bishop takes e3. If I take with the queen, he can tempo my queen. Queen to e2. Queen back to c2. Let me think. Knight f1. Rook takes. I can always take back with the knight. So maybe the knight needs to go to a1 here, b1 here. I want to clear f1 for my bishop. But then again, I've got his bishop on h7 shut out. Oh, mercy, 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 mercy. What do I want to do here? Knight f1. Knight df1. Rook takes. I'll take with the knight. Let's see. 61 minutes. I have an hour to figure this out. No, I can't play knight b1 to drop a piece. Okay, knight df1. Rook takes. I have the option to take with the knight. Then I'm ready to bring the knight on. Let's see. Wait. Knight d f1. Rook takes. Take with the knight. Then I'm ready to bring the knight back here, clearing f1 for the bishop, so I can chase him out of d3. So let's see. How does that work? Knight df1. Rook takes. Knight takes. He plays rook d1, or rook d8 rather. Okay, now I can put the knight on f1 on e3. Now he's attacking it with the bishop and knight. It's guarded, the bishop and queen battery. It's guarded by the rook on e1 and the knight on d1. For some reason I'm having trouble analyzing this. Knight df1, rook takes, knight takes, rook d8. Okay, now I put the knight on e3. He plays rook d3. Now he's attacking it with the rook, the bishop, and the knight. It's guarded by the knight on d1 and the rook. So now I can swing my queen to f2. I step into another pin. Okay, but I'm ready for bishop f1. Chasing his rook out. So I think that's the solution. If not, well, we'll find out soon enough. Okay. So now do I win a pawn? What's his threat? I'm not sure what his threat is. So I just take this pawn, right? And I'm ready to double my rooks. Okay. Now he played knight g4. What's he threatening I should worry about? Anything? He's not attacking e3. I've got the half-open f-file. I don't want to play h3 and weaken my position because g3 is loose. I cleared d3 for my knight, but I can't play it there now because the queen's guarding it. So let's see. Not sure what I want to do here. My bishop's not doing a whole heck of a lot good here. What if I was to trade it off with bishop f3? Just try to trade it off. Okay, he did play his knight to g4, as I was saying he might. And now I put the queen on e2. Okay. Now he did take with the bishop. Now, do I care if he takes on e4? Or do I want to take his critter on g5? Rook f8, bishop takes e4, e takes. That gives me the f5 square. My knight on h5 doesn't have a whole lot of scope here. I could take on g5 and play knight h5. I'm sorry, knight takes g5, queen takes, knight h4. No, my knight's getting kind of into play. Do I care if he takes on e4? Of course, knight takes g5, knight h4, he gets queen e3 check in. I think development is the rule of thumb here. If he wants to take on e4, let him. I'll figure out how to play this. Okay, queen h3, very interesting. Okay, does he have any way to checkmate me? I can threaten a fork if I move my queen. Queen e2 kind of guards the light squares a little bit, although he's not really menacing anything. Threatens knight d6. It then protects the pawn on b3, but I'm not too worried about that. It's important I break that pin. Where do I want the queen? a2 or e2? I'll put her on e2. It's just a little more centralized. Okay, queen e2. Now queen b6. Okay, now he's giving me c4. Let's see. Because I can take and get c4, kick his bishop out. I can kick his bishop out now with f5. A move I didn't want to play. His bishop goes back to d7. He's ready to retake on b5 with his bishop. Of course, pawn takes, queen takes, a7 is loose. Pawn takes, bishop d7. I can throw rook a6 on him. Maybe I'm getting somewhere. Okay, takes. Now, let's see. He took here. Now I take with the knight. All right, that was all according to plan. Okay, so now he put his bishop on d6. Now, as noted, e6 and h5 remain weak. So, which knight do I want to put on h2? How about the knight on f3? Yeah, how about that one? Knight h2. Now, if knight takes knight, I take back with the knight. He doesn't really have a decent sacrifice on g3. Okay, now I get a pawn. For what it's worth, I get a pawn. Does he get a pawn back? Maybe. But maybe not. Let's see. Rook takes a7. He wants to play queen here. I mean bishop here. Rook takes a7, bishop b3. Okay, so let's try something different. He's going to get b3. Let's just overprotect b2. Let's see. How do I want to do this? Rook b1. Now I can play a5, and I can play queen a4. Okay, we'll go that way. Okay, bishop g5. Okay, I've got a pass pawn. I might as well use it. b4. Plans to go to b5 and then b6. Who's talking to me? Somebody wants to talk to me. Okay, I'll accept what you want. I don't know what he wants. Okay, so b4. I could fork him. Knight d6. What's he do? So what was one of the plans here? He's asking me which game. I have 6 games. Okay. So knight d6 seems to win material. What's he do? He can play rook a8. Now if knight takes rook, he takes on a6, so it doesn't work. Just b4. b4, rook b8. I stick a rook behind it on b1. He puts his rook on b5. Then I play knight d6. Okay. So he did bring his rook to d1. Now, as I say, I plan to get the knight back to d3, or to e3. So queen e2. Wait, knight e3. If rook d3, queen e2. I'm not threatening bishop f1 anymore. Let's see, knight e3, rook d3, bishop f1. Rook takes e3. Knight takes e3, bishop takes e3. So it doesn't work as clean as I wanted. I can always step back into a pin. The queen can go to f2. A little ugly, but this is what I want to do. Knight e3, rook d3, queen f2. With the idea of bishop f1 chasing him out. Okay, we'll go for that. Alright, now he played h5. Do I want to take that critter? I was talking about having bishops versus knights. Yeah, knight's a nuisance. I'll just get rid of it. Okay. Now he took with the knight, so now which way do I take back? With the king or the knight? Taking with the king weakens h4 because that pawn is pinned. Taking with the king also might give him a tempo of knight here and check. Let's see. Knight takes is the logical move here. That knight's going to take a while to get back into play anyway. I'll take with the knight. Okay, no need to rush. And I've got everybody thinking. Okay, I'm down to 40 minutes there. 67 minutes there. Okay, 60 minutes here. Is it my move? It's his move. Okay. 67 minutes. 58 minutes. 39 minutes. I'm running low on time in this game, but not too bad. And 40 minutes here. So I got a few games I'm running out of time, and well, I'm not really running out of time. I'm just using a lot of time. So some of these people are moving quicker than others. Here we have 23 moves. He's consumed 20 minutes off his clock plus approximately 12 minutes on the increment. 32 minutes for 23 moves, that's too fast. Okay. That's just the way it is. You know, you've got 90-30. It gives you an E time of about 110 minutes for 40 moves, almost 3 minutes a move, and you're spending barely over a minute a move. So, you know, the idea here is you're going to get practice of a slow game, a slow-paced game where you can find more moves. Now, granted, you all have good games against me, but that's because of this opening. I choose an opening that's equal in order to teach this opening to you. Okay, so not quite sure what's going on here, but I'm working on it. Okay, he took, and I don't mind this. This also gives me a tempo on the pawn on b5 for what it's worth. Gives me time to put my rook on f5. Gives me a queen b3 check possibility. Might he play c4? Yeah, he just did. Okay, now he's threatening to play d3. Okay, I'm not too worried about that. Or should I? What if I just take his pawn? Okay, he pushes d3. His pawn can get a little menacing, but I have it covered. Let's take it, see what happens. I'm on his rook for what it's worth. Okay, he covered his pawn with queen f7. Okay, so now, as I was talking earlier, I can do a battery on the pawn. Now I can play bishop g6. I got him tied down to guarding that pawn. Of course, then he can play knight e5 and chase my bishop out. So, is this position? I don't want to play c4. I just don't want to give him b4 and d4. I'm not quite ready for bishop f3. It's not going anywhere. Maybe this is the position where I just need to double rooks. Since he can't really attack anything, if I put the rook on d2, am I taking any square away from anything? Don't really want it on d3. That runs into a pin. I can always bring the bishop back to c1 later. It might even go to a3. Okay, I'll just play rook d2 and stay ahead on the clock. Okay, he took with the bishop. Now let's see. Okay, I've got the two knights. Now I want to get a knight to where at f4. What happens if knight d3 here? The idea is to get a knight to f4 for what it's worth. Oh wait, that hangs a pawn. Okay, I'm just not seeing things. Okay, knight df3 first, and then I can get the knight to d3 if I so choose. Okay. Alright, so a5. Now, as I was saying, I can play queen a4. Okay, I'll play queen a4 here. Okay, there he played what I thought he would play. Now here's where I step into a pin. Although I can't really step into that pin because there might be a rook takes. Okay, so we got to do a little maneuvering here. Queen e2 first. Now the hatches are battened down. He cannot attack e3 again. Okay, so queen e2 first. Okay, I don't step into the pin just yet. Okay, here he's looking to maybe relieve a little pressure. Okay, so that's fine. Where's this bishop going next? Answer is it not. So I just double up these critters and let the h5 pawn stay there. Okay. I'm happy to trade off some rooks here. If they come off, they come off. Okay, what's happening next? I have 39 minutes there. So here I'm just slow playing it. My bishop will go to f1, clearing the knight to move back to g2 perhaps, and then I can go up to f4 and chase him out. That's another way to do it. He's attacking e3 three times. I'm defending it three times. So, working his bishop on h7 is just watching the game. His knight on f6 can't really get in the game. e5 is its most active square. Okay, so he traded rooks. Okay, that's fine. And now, do I want to trade rooks again? Let's see. Rook takes, bishop takes, probably. Queen d. I can play bishop f3. He plays bishop g6. I can play queen d1. And he doesn't have time to play knight e5 because d8 would fall. So I can get on the d file here and keep his pawns weak. Let's see. I have to make sure I don't drop e4 in all this. Rook takes queen, and also, like I say, I can pressure c5 if I want. What if I was to pressure it now? He has to guard it at some point. Or protect it. See, I like the idea of having him play b6 because then it cuts off a diagonal for his bishop. It weakens c6 to some degree. Bishop a3, if he takes on d2, I'm no longer on h5, but I can always get back there. I'm on the open file. Yeah, I'll just do it under general principles. Bishop a3. Okay, now he offered me a rook trade. Do I want to take a rook trade, or do I want to push my pawn further? b5, rook takes, pawn takes. My pawn's very advanced. e5 is in trouble. Okay, what's he threatening I should worry about? Anything? No. So b5. Okay, b5. He took my queen. I've got to take back. Okay. Now I'm pressuring a5 for what it's worth. Okay. Okay, good. I got him to play b6. See, the idea here is restrict the black bishop so it can't go on that diagonal. Now, one of the whole objectives was to get the bishop back to c1. So, bishop c1, knight e5. Does knight e5 do him any good? He's stopping my bishop from getting to f3. So I can play bishop f3 here. But no. Rook take. Oh, rook takes me off. Okay, rook takes, bishop takes most likely. Bishop f3, bishop g6. I need to get the knight to f4. How can that knight get to f4? Knight f1 to e3 to g2. I mean, the bishop has to move, but the bishop's going to f3. Maybe I can get it there eventually. I'm just going to follow general principles and bring the bishop back to c1 right now and wait developments. Okay, so now he's got a passive bishop. His bishop is guarding pawns. Let's go let's see, how do I want to do this? Let's get the knight to d2. We're going to go to c4. Let's see. Knight d2. Screaming to be played. Okay. Now he brought the queen back. Okay, what's his threat? There is no threat. Bishop f1. The idea here is to move my queen. Okay, now he played there. Bishop e7. So let's see. Do I want to trade rooks now and push the pawn to b6? Why not? Okay, rook takes. Now he played e5. Okay, he's trying to play e4. Well, let's see. I'm going to take it. Not giving this much thought. Okay, now do I play b6? Anchors that pawn in a little further. Okay, b6. Now he counter-attacking. Knight c4. What did I do? Did I hang a piece? I hung a piece. What did I do here? Well, I just wasn't careful. Let's see. No, I didn't hang a piece. I just trapped my queen. Okay. Thought he took a piece there. I'm thinking, what did he take? My goodness. Okay. Didn't see that. Okay, well, win some, you lose some. Going through all this maneuvering and outwitted myself. Okay, what's happening here? My queen has no scope, no room. What can I counterattack? Let's see, what should I have done? Anticipate he was threatening to put his rook there. I guess I had to bring my knight back to F... no, I can't bring it back to F1. Yeah, I can. Knight F1. Well, I was trying to chase that rook out and it just didn't work. Okay, let's look at these other games here. Okay, is it my move here? Bishop C5. Rook B1 or B7. Rook B1. Okay. I can't do anything there. Let's see what's happening here. There he went ahead and did that move. Okay. So he's overprotecting the pawn ahead of time. So the only question is, can he knight e5, knight g4. Do I want that? Do I want to allow that? Of course, you know, I can always pressure the knight somehow. Let's see. Queen b5. Queen b5. Let's talk about that creating a weakness. Queen b5. Where's his knight go? To e5? Queen b5, knight e5. Rook takes, bishop takes. Bishop f4 threatens to double pawns. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Wait, was it queen b5 or rook takes first? Queen b5. Queen b5. Knight e5. Let's try this. Okay, queen b5. Wait a minute, this is not the right position. Okay, what do I have here? My queen has no place to move, so I'm going to lose my queen for a rook. Do I have any compensation anywhere? I don't. He's down at 32 minutes, but that's more than enough time. Let's see. Knight takes c4, rook takes. I just don't have enough. Oh, game over. Okay, good game. Close that one out. Let's do a quick review. If I had some compensation, I could play it out. Let's see. Okay, system is going fine. You know, it's one of those cases where I opted for the pawn setup, and it's done me right before, but it just kind of went against me here. Let's see. And I went through some careful maneuvering trying to do this. I took back with the knight instead of the queen because I was going to transfer this knight over here, allowing him in. And I didn't want to step into queen f2. I think that runs into rook takes d1. And here I missed the threat of rook d2. See, it's a move I didn't even anticipate. So here I have to play knight f1 and yeah, good game. Okay, so let's close that one down. Which one was this? Against Skynet? Where's Skynet? A player on the chart. There he is. So I'll close that one. Thanks for the game. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, what's this doing with an empty board? Okay, let's see what's happening. Okay, he took my critter. Now we go into opposite colored bishops. But the opposite colored bishops, the attacking side is a piece ahead. So, which way do I want to take? Uh, if I take with the rook, I'm on a c pawn. If I take with the pawn, I give him a pass pawn. And I'm not on any pawn. I'll take with the rook. Let's see what he does here. Okay, so rook b8. Now, is he threatening anything I should worry about? Yes, he's threatening my pawn. So, I'll shove it up to b7. And then follow up with queen b2. Okay, now here he attacked that as thought. Okay, so now I play queen d1. And he's got a pass pawn, but I've got it blockaded. Okay, rook c5 of all things. Okay. Now, what do I want to do here? I got to activate this bishop on f1. How's he going to get activated? Bishop h3 threatens bishop d7. So he plays rook d8 to stop that. See, bishop h3, rook d7. Well, he may not play rook d7, but he should. Then I can play a move like e5. That clears f5 for my bishop. Takes another square away from his bishop. We'll try it, see what happens. Okay, so he took, now just take that critter. Now what's happening here? Queen b5, he took my rook. Okay, now take back with the bishop. Okay, now he guarded his critter. So, let's see. Now, I'm not worried about the pawn on d3. That's not a problem. It's not going anywhere. I've got the square covered. First thing to do is let's try to attack his king. Okay, we'll play h4, attacking the bishop, and then bishop f5, and go from there. Okay, so let's see, queen d7. Okay, now I put the queen on b2 because he is threatening to take my critter. Okay, queen e5, or queen takes e5 rather. So let's see what had happened here. He took with the bishop. I took on e5. He took with the queen, and I got a crummy looking game here. Just not getting any kind of play that I want, but I can attack his queen, give him a chance to correct my pawns. So knight f3. Okay. Now bishop d7. Rook takes b2. Rook takes b2. Rook takes c5. Bishop d7. Rook takes b2. Okay, rook here. Our bishop d7. Rook takes b2. Rook takes b2. Rook takes c5. I've got a tempo on his bishop. He didn't have time to run his pawn, so he's the one getting the pass pawn here. Well, rook c2 plans bishop d7. He plays a4. I play bishop d7. He's stuck playing rook b4, and I take on c5. He takes on b2. I'll lure him into something here. Rook c2. We'll go from there. Okay, f6. Now it's a question of activating things. Queen b5, if he takes, I take. I'm on his bishop. And then the idea is to swing the knight in and do him in. Okay, so now I play bishop f5. And I'm threatening a queen check on g4 for what it's worth. Okay, queen c7. He didn't take and correct my pawns. I got a nice outpost on d4 for my knight. I've been looking for an outpost for my knights for a while. That gives up a pawn on e2. He's got dark square issues because I got rid of his dark squared bishop. My rook's not doing anything on the C file. Let's just get him to the B file and see what happens. Okay. Is it his move here? Yeah, it's his move. Okay, he moved his queen. Now I play knight a5 with the idea knight c6. Okay. He didn't move here yet. Somebody moved. Why isn't it clicking me to the games where it's my move? Okay, queen d7 on my bishop. So what if my queen just comes back to e2? Did I really get anything there? Maybe not. Okay, let's just come back to e2. Okay, let's look at the time constraints. Let's see. I have 36 minutes here. It's my move. Okay, he guarded his pawn. Now what do I do? Well, knight e4 doesn't hang my pawn. The guy's guarding it. Of course, where does my knight go after it goes to d4? Let's see. I don't know what I want to do here. Knight g5. Trying to induce a weakness. Knight g5 followed by e4. He has too many defenders on f7. Let's see. Let's just transfer the queen. Think about getting the queen over to the king side. d4 looks like a good square for the queen, and this invites him to play a6 and weaken his pawns. Okay, so he did play bishop d6. Now I can attack. Let's see. Okay, first step is to get an active bishop. Okay, so now I'm going to get the bishop to c4, where it's going to do a lot of good. Okay, so how do we get it there? Bishop d7. Yeah, bishop d7 attacks the rook. And we get it to c6 next, if we can. So we're trying to get an active bishop here. Okay, knight e5 is expected. Now, what's he threatening I should worry about? Not much. I can kick it with f4. What happened? Somebody resigned? Oh. Yeah, he gave up. Let's see. I think he gave up. Okay, well, thanks for the game. Yeah, unfortunately, I think he just dropped a pawn here. But you took your time. I'm proud of you. What's happening here? Getting confused. Okay, it's his move still. I guess I have 4 games left. Let me review this game and get it over with. I can clear it. Try to get all these games over with. Let's see. So he's got a reasonably solid game here. I'm just not getting, anywhere. I got the c4 square. Now I anchored the c4 square in. And now I keep the c4 square. Attack the pawn. And here, he was threatening to win a pawn. I just anchored it in. And here that was a mistake because I let my bishop in on h3 and drove him off the file. And now he unfortunately dropped a pawn. He didn't have to drop the pawn. Let's see, what are his alternatives? Rook b8, and he should be okay. But this just drops a pawn, and then it just marches right up the board. There's not much he can do. So he had a good game there, Carlos. Okay, next game. Let's see. Down to 4 games. Okay. Now he put the rook on b4. So now I put the bishop on c6. And the idea is to get it to c4. Let's see. Bishop c6, a4. Bishop d5, a3. I can play b3 and start working on that pawn. Maybe. Well, we'll see what happens. Okay, rook e8. He's after my weak pawn. Okay. But it gives me a pawn on a7 if I want, which I'm not really paying attention to this game. Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty hopeless. Well, I'll just bring my rook up and guard the pawn or protect the pawn. Okay, my move here again. Okay, where's that knight going I should worry about? I don't care if it goes to d3. I don't care if his queen goes to d3. Let's see. I was talking about getting a knight to f4 earlier. How do I do that? Knight f1 to e3. Bishop to f1, knight to g2, knight to f4. It takes a while. Knight f1, if he plays queen d3, I can take he takes with the knight. Is his knight threatening anything I should worry about? Probably not. Okay, knight f1. We'll just go slow maneuvering. Okay, a4 is expected. Now on bishop d5, I've got my bishop to the optimum position. He plays a3, I play b3. And I stop that pawn cold in its tracks and activate my rook later. If that works. Okay, now I can take en passant here. Do I want to take en passant? I don't know. Do I? Let's see. Do I want to just centralize my queen? Yeah, I just centralize the queen. Queen d4. What if he plays rook e4? Well, I put the queen on f6, and who knows what can happen. Okay, knight d3. Not the move I was expecting. As myself working that knight do from there? And the answer is not much. So, knight e3. That prepares bishop f1, chasing him out, and clears f4 for my g2 for my knight to get to f4. So let's see. What am I forgetting about here? Anything? Okay, knight e3. I think I'm down to 4 games. And the video is an hour and 53 minutes. Okay, did he move here, or is it my move? No, he's still thinking, because I'm trying to counterattack his position. I'm trying to penetrate with my queen on the light squares. He's got a menacing pass pawn, but I'm not too worried about that. I want to get my knight into play. I'm not, if I can drive the bishop off the diagonal, it can get into e3 and d5. I may have to tie a rook, something guarding that pawn, because he should probably get it to d2 at some point, just to have the nuisance value that it's getting ready to queen. It clears d3 for his rook. He might have some compensation counterplay with that pawn. Okay, what's he doing? Rook e4. Yeah, I expected that, I think. And what was I saying? I was going to put the queen on f6. See what happens, right? Is that what I was saying? Put the queen on f6. You know, it's a nice menacing square for the queen. Let's try it and see. Okay. Probably get it trapped down there. Okay, let's see what's happening. Okay, it's his move. It's my move here. He did chase it out. I'll just go back, right? What's it going to do if I just go back? Or do I want to give him a chance to repair my pawns and play this ending a pawn down? Although queen f4, queen takes. I can't take with the e pawn because e2 falls. That pesky square. Where do I want to put my queen? I'll just put it back on d4 and see what he does. Okay. Okay, so here he played queen g7. So he's stopping my check. What I need to do is deactivate that bishop on h6. If I play g4, the idea is g5. Not so much to trap it, but to keep it out of my position and clear e3 for my knight. He could put it on f4, but that might be risky. Knight takes, pawn takes, rook takes. He's giving up another pawn. And his pawn on getting his pawn to d2 doesn't have as much punch. So I think g4 here, with the idea of g5, so the knight can go to e3. The other alternative is try to put the queen on h5, but I don't see enough with it there. g4. See what happens. Okay, king f7. Okay, so now we go menaces knight, right? Now what does this do? It unprotects the pawn on e4. That's no good. Let's go attack his pawn on g6. Does that work? Bishop f3. What's he do? Has he dropped his pawn? Bishop f3. Okay, now he doubled rooks. What's he threatening to do? If I play rook f2 here, it just guards f2 a little bit. You know, just kind of like wallowing here, trying to figure out what to do. Okay, so g6 of all things. What's he trying to do with g6? I thought he was going to play a3. What if I play rook a1 here? Rook takes b2, rook takes b2, rook takes a4. He's got me on the 7th. Corralled in. How much time do I have in my games? Let me review these. I want to take a quick look. Okay, I have 22 minutes here. Ouch. Wow, where'd my time go? 37 minutes here. 33 minutes here. The only one I really have a lot of time in is this one, and it's my move. Did he move here yet? No, he didn't. Okay. If he moves his king and I take on h5, he can then take on e4. But I've cleared g2 for my bishop, and I can swing the knight over there to f4. I don't have to take on h5. Okay, just heard a click. He put his queen on f7. God, discoveries. Bishop d7. No, bishop d7. No, I gotta clear e3 for my knight. Okay. I just heard a click. What did he click? What took? Oh, he took that. Thank you. Okay, that repaired my pawns. Been trying to do that. I don't want to take with the rook and keep the file open. Probably repair the pawns. Okay, still my move here. I have 50 minutes. I just heard a click. Okay, g5. He played bishop g7. Now, knight e3. I could play... Wait, I'm not sure where this knight is. If I set him on 8, he'll go back. I could play bishop h7 check. That seems to win. Bishop h7 check. If king takes, rook takes queen. So that just wins, rather than the slower maneuver. Bishop h7 check. If king f8, rook takes queen check. Yep, we'll want a queen for a rook here. Check. Okay. Now what I want to do here. Here I have plenty of time. Okay. What did he play here? You had anything yet? No, not. I just heard a click. What happened here? Oh, he's after my queen. Okay, so he wants to trade queens. Okay, what do I do? I limb trade queens. Counterattack. Got to open up some files on the queen side. A4. Okay. I just heard a click again. He's in check. He played e5. So, can I win the pawn now? He shut in his bishop on d6. Bishop takes here. Can he put his queen on h3? Probably not. He's taking f4 away. All that maneuvering trying to get to f4. You just take the pawn. I'm down to 22 minutes here. Okay, so what do I want to do here? Rook a1 says basically you're not going to have a passed pawn on my watch, and you're not going to have an active bishop. So I think I have 48 minutes here. Rook c4 is the other way to go. And just play rook a1. Okay, he may get the 7th rank. Now I play rook takes, check. Okay, he took. Now I take with check here. Okay. Now it's my move. Now I play queen f3 check. Or knight e3 right away. Knight e3. Queen h5 check is possible. No, I gotta get this knight into play. I'm sure this probably got a lot of different ways to win. Okay, king back. Now, let's see. Queen g4 offers to trade queens. And put a knight on f5. So I'm running out of time. Queen g4. Queen d8, knight f5. Yeah, this give me some reasonable attacking chances. Okay, you can't go to with knight takes f2. Because I'm on his queen. I'd always put the queen back on e2 in a minute. Queen d8, knight f5, threatens mate. Okay, that's the way to do it. Okay, I have 22 minutes there. I have 48 minutes here. What is it? 22 here. I just covered that. I have 37 minutes here. Did he move? No, I moved. Okay, he took my queen. Now I'm a pawn up. Now b4. Okay. What's he trying to do? Well, I'm not sure what he's trying to do, but I'm going to take squares away from his king. Knight d5 just looks natural. Okay. Now b5. Okay. For what it's worth, I have the d5 square. Is that worth anything? Maybe. What's he trying to do? Push c4 or push b4? Well, we'll let him. Okay, knight e3. Okay. Now king up. Okay, so he doesn't want to take my pawn. Rook c4. Okay, is this the kind of position I want to push e5 in and restrict his bishop? I think it is. Okay, e5. Okay, do I have time to check? Queen check. Queen check here. King e8, bishop check, king d7. Yeah, just take the pawn. It's not going anywhere. No hurry. I have good moves. All kinds of good moves here. Okay, let's see. He didn't move yet. Bishop e7. Okay. How do I force him to take on b2? Well, I guess I don't. Rook c4, rook takes b2. Rook takes a4. Yeah, I think this does it. Rook c4, rook takes b2, rook takes. He tries to double. I come back. And maybe what the thing to do is get my king closer. King f2. Now he plays rook takes, and he's going to get a check. Let's see. Maybe this position I can play bishop c6 right now and force his hand. Bishop c6, rook takes b2, rook takes, rook takes, rook takes a4. See, we were on that before. No, let's see. Let me just back up. See, I got off the pawn. I didn't go on the pawn, and then now I can go back. Bishop c6 now. Rook takes, rook takes, rook takes, rook takes. I'm covering a5 where his bishop tries to get back into play. Okay, I think the way to do it is just to play bishop a6 here. I got to force his hand. If it gets me off f7, I can get back on it. Bishop c6. Okay, he took, I have to take. Okay, what's happening here? King f7. Now I have knight d5 in. Do I want it? It's a good square for the knight. Or do I want to drive his knight out? What if we try to drive his knight out? King e1, f1. He's got to find a retreat for that knight. He may not have a retreat. Okay. Now let's see. He's taking here. Okay, I guess gives me an open file. Or maybe a pass pawn. Maybe. Okay, let's see. He went over there. What's he threatening? Anything I should worry about? Check. Okay, let's see. What do I want to check? F3 or H5? H5 forces him back to F8. What if I just play bishop F5 here? And the point being the threat queen check, and if king he gets to F8. F3 check invites him to go to E8, bishop check, king up to D7, queen check. Got to watch out for that pawn. Got to be a mate in here. I have 36 minutes. I have plenty of time. Okay, maybe I need to take a walk again. Let's see. His move, he has 12 minutes. Okay, he's taking his time, which is good. He's not taking his time. King E6. Now, does he have to give up a pawn to save his knight? King e2. Okay. He took there. Now, d4 is weak, but there's an open file. I got to take it. Okay. Let's see. I might move somewhere. Okay, so I'm winning a pawn here, aren't I? I'm winning another pawn. Okay, now Queen h5 check sends him back to f8. Now Queen f3 check just transposes because he has to go to e8. So Queen f3 check. It could come up here to there, but that just allows Queen f5, and that's close to a mate. Queen f3 check, King e8, Bishop check, King d8. Probably a simple tactical win, and it's staring me right in the face. I mean, I've got a queen for a rook advantage here. I have plenty of time on the clock. Let me look at the other games. Come back to this one. Okay, I moved there. He hasn't moved yet. Okay, now I can take a second pawn, or I can leave it there and it's weak. But this threatens his knight, makes his knight back up. All right. Okay. Now what's happening here? Okay, check. I have to. Well, I don't have to, but I will come up. Okay. Check. Queen h5 check. Forces King f8. Now, how do I want to? What do I want to do next? Queen f3 check forces King e8. What if I? Well, if I play Queen g4, I can get Rook b1 in. What's he threatening? He's not really threatening anything here, is he? Let's just start putting these pawns up the board. h4. He just can't generate anything with that passed pawn. He plays Rook to b2. Just play h4, h5 here. Go from there. Okay, still his move, or is it my move? Oh, he played there. Can I take it with my bishop? I step into a pin, but I can get out of that pin. Bishop takes a5. What am I missing? We can still take on b2, but we were going to allow that. Bishop takes a5, right? Bishop takes a4. We're trying to get something like this. Okay, now he went there. Did my move? Well, not really. Let's get the rook activated. Check and go behind the pawn, or Rook a6 directly. Let's see. Yeah, check and go behind the pawn. Makes sense. Okay. He got his knight out. Now, what's he threatening I should worry about? He's on my pawn on e4. You can't have it. I worked hard for that pawn. Okay, f3. Okay, f3. Okay, King g7. Now Rook c8. Ready to take a pawn. If he plays Rook e6, I play something like King f1. If I him to go back and forth. Okay, so he pinned. Now what am I missing? b3. Oh, he can take the pawn on b3. Well, but I took a pawn. Am I up a pawn here? I think I'm up a pawn. He can get it back. I don't mind that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. b3. He can play Rook takes b3. But that's okay. course, he may be on the pawn on d3. What am I missing here? Rook c4. Do I play rook c4 here? Rook c4. Yeah, rook c4 is my move, not b3. Rook c4. Let me make sure I'm not losing something here. Rook c4, and if he plays rook takes b2, my bishop is safe. Okay, rook c4, because the X-ray guards the bishop on a4. If rook h6 takes a4, I take on a4 and win material. Okay. So let's see. I put his rook on the 7th. Okay, that's fine. Now let's take away a square from his bishop and see what happens. Okay, maybe he's going to get some play here. Okay, good. He took. Now he's going to play his rook to e6. Okay, king d7 here. Now what do I want to do? I'm 2 pawns ahead. I've got control of d5. Knight d3. Let's get this knight into play. Okay, knight d3. He played his bishop there. Now do we do the check? Queen h5 check. He no longer has f8. Let's see. So queen h5 check forces king e6. Then queen e8 check. I'm close to a mate here. I'll come back to it. I heard a tick where I have a little less time. Okay, so he took there. Now, the key is I have to get off the open file. Okay, so I mean the A file. Okay, so let's. I have to break the pin. What do I want my rook? I'll try to open up the E file. Rook E1, bishop D8, E6. No, I'm gonna overprotect D3 in this case. I'm okay on the white squares. Okay, let's just overprotect D3 for the time being. Okay, that makes sense. Now, how close am I to a win? Let's see. Queen F3 check. King here. Queen F5 check. King D6. Queen takes bishop check. It's all over. Queen check. King D6. Queen F5 check. Forces him to D6. I pick up the bishop with check. And it's all over. Okay. Now he guarded. Okay, now. Do I have any counterplay or possibilities here? Let's see. I've got him tied down to guarding E6. F3 is keeping him out of E4, so it's time to start trading pawns. Okay, King C4. Now we try to invite a weakness. Or King C6. Knight F5 threatens knight. If G6, knight E7 check picks up another pawn. Okay, so he can play knight E6, but I don't mind that so much. Okay, I have 16 minutes left there. Okay, he put his bishop, his rook there. Okay. What do I want to put the bishop? D7. Okay. Now F5. Now we start checking him. He's got weaknesses. Rook check. Okay. Knight E6 is expected. King D3. Let's get the king into play. Okay, King D3. Video is now 2 hours and 20 minutes old almost. I have 4 games left. 1 win, 1 loss. He's running into major material loss here. I'm trying to hold on for a draw. Not going to offer it yet. Let's see. I think he's playing this well. Maybe I've kind of not gotten as much out of this as I wanted, but maybe I need to stretch my legs again. So here the winning plan is to I've got 1 pass pawn. I can create another one eventually on the king side. I want to trade either a bishop for a knight or a knight for a bishop, and then the rest should be relatively easy. That's the key to playing out this from this position. Let's see. Okay, king b5. Does that really help him? What is he trying to do? King a4, a3. Well, if he plays king a4, I can just play bishop c1 and run him down. He can't get in to a4. I can also play check, then king a4. You know what? I like the idea knight e7. Or, because I want to get back to d5 and play f4. You know, just idea I have a powerful pawn. Okay, he took. Now, I take this guy. I think that's what I do. Okay, now. I've got the better bishop, but do I have enough to win? Bishop c4, b3, or bishop b5, b3, rook b1. Yeah, I gotta protect that pawn so my rook will be free. Gotta get onto c4. I'm not too sure what's happening here. I'm trying to find something where I get an advantage, but I don't really have much of one. Let's see. If I check him again, what's he trying to do? Run his king to... What if I just bring my king back to f1 here? King f1. If he plays rook e3, I attack it. It goes to d3, I start eating pawns too. I got an active rook. I got drawing chances here. Okay. I have 28 minutes left there. I have 44 minutes here. That's plenty of time. I have 16 minutes here, and I'm winning. Okay, wait. His move. He did try that. Okay. Like I say, I just cut him off. His king can't get in. Bishop c1. Okay. Gotta watch my... Just gotta make sure I don't get down to like 5 minutes on a game and something along that line. So bishop c1 takes a square away. I got some compensation here. Let him play for a win for a while. Check here. I think he's in serious trouble. Let's see. He has one legal move. I don't know why he's thinking. He can only put his king... No, he can put his king on e8. For some reason I didn't see that. But queen, king e8, bishop g6 check. Forces him up. Okay, now he put his bishop on d3. Okay, now where do I want my knight? I wanted the knight to support an f4 break, right? So knight d5. Okay. Now, bishop g6 check. Should do it. Okay, this is interesting. What if I just play bishop e3 and attack his a pawn? And his bishop's in his way. Okay. Bishop on a3 is in the way of his king going after a2. It's just an idea. You know. I might have compensation for the pawn. I don't know. Got his king. He can run his king over to d8, but I'll just keep my rook on the 7th rank for a while. And he's got weaknesses on c6 and g6. I mean, I have weaknesses too, d4, but at least for now I'm keeping him out of d4 with the pawn on f3. I have 28 minutes left there. I have 31 minutes left here. He's in check. I have 16 minutes left there. And I have 44 minutes left there. So here I'm trying to objectively stop his passed pawn and get my rook active. Although, he's got the open file now. One drawback with pushing my pawn to e5 was I lost the d5 square. I could anchor a bishop there. Now I have to do it from c4. He moved. Okay, now I just bring the king back. And I'll just take a quick walk. Do I have any soda left? Yes, I do. Okay, take a sip. Okay, how close is he to getting checkmated here? Where would my knight like to check him from? b6? Well, no, that's not a checkmate. Let's see, knight b6 check. Okay, what's he threatening? Anything? Bishop to b2. What if I play bishop b6 here? That restricts his knight. If king b5, my bishop's protected, right? So let's just improve the position of my bishop here. Bishop b6. Okay. What's happening here? Oh, he's running way out of time. Okay, well, I think you're holding this. I'm probably headed for... this is headed for a win. This is headed for a loss, maybe a draw. Okay, somebody moved here. Oh, that helps me. Okay, now I can restrain... I get on the file. If I want to get on the file. Okay, first step, bishop c4. And I got to watch for positions where you sack on c4 and those pawns become deadly. Let's see. I think I can figure that out ahead of time. Okay. All right. So I'll take a quick walk here. Wait, somebody moved here. Okay. Not going to take my walk yet. Now I check and force him to let me... Well, I don't really force him to do anything. He can interpose. What if I just take his bishop? That threatens queen. That pawn of his could get dangerous in a hurry. How can I mate him here? Queen f5 check. Forces either king d6 or king d8. And then I get the bishop with check. Yeah, that was the whole idea. Check. Is to get the bishop with check. So we want to get the bishop with check. That's what we want to do. He put his rook on c2. Now I put my rook on a1. Okay. Now he's on my rook. Okay, big deal. Rook. Let's see, how do I want to do this? Rook b7. Okay, now I got the bishop with check. Okay, so he played his bishop there. Now, if he plays king a3, All he succeeds in doing is trading pawns. What if I start running my c pawn now? c4 with the idea of c5 with the idea of c6 and c7. So king a3, c5, king takes, c6. Oh, I can just take on a4. Let's just push the c pawn. Now look at his king. His king is getting tied up, and I'm close to getting a mate here. Close, but not quite. Okay, so I got the queen. I got the bishop with check. Now try to get more with check. What about queen e8? Is that mate? No. Let's see. Is bishop e8 mate? Bishop e8, he can go back to d8, and I can take this off with check. And if it goes to e6, see, bishop e8, king d6. Hey, I'm just going to take a walk and think about this. There's probably a mate there. You don't have to be quick on tactics. You just have to understand that they're there and take your time. You know, what's the rush? If you're playing blitz chess, yeah, you got to find the tactic if it's there. In the time constraint, otherwise you lose the game. But what's the point of playing? How is blitz chess going to improve your chess? You're just going to get lots of game practicing, lots of positions. But there's probably a forced mate in here. I'm just not quite seeing it just yet. Okay, I'm taking C right now. He has one square, and that. Oh wait, I think I have mate right now. Yeah, bishop f5. Duh. See, there it is. Bishop f5 is mate. What am I missing? I'm covering all the squares. Yep, mate. Okay, now let's see. He played g5. He's trying to undermine my pawns. That devil. Okay. Well, that gives me a chance to play f5 here. Or rook a7. I got kind of a happy choice here. Rook a7 or f5. What to do? Rook a7 or f5. Well, I've got 3 games left. I've got 2 wins, 1 loss. Seem to be headed for one more win, and trying to get some other ones. Someone's sending me a message. I'll talk to him in a minute. I'm taking a walk. The luxury of having wireless headphones. I take my walk and I can keep talking to you. Okay, so 3 endings. Got rook and bishop of opposite colors. I'm trying to use the bishop to my advantage because my bishop is better than his bishop. Trying to win with that. It can be done. I've seen the examples. Haven't gotten into one of those type positions yet, but I'm going to try. I have the 2 minor piece ending where I'm 2 pawns up. I'm trying to just run my c pawn up the board. His king going after a2 has just allowed my c pawn to run up. And there's some possible mate threats with his king on the side of the board, but I don't quite see him. And then the one where I'm down a rook. I'm sorry, not down a rook, down a pawn and a rook and pawn ending. But I've got the rook on the 7th rank. And I'm trying to tie him up to some degree. If his rook gets active, my rook will get active, and pawns will start disappearing, and maybe there's a chance to hold a draw. So, trying to give everyone a game. I'm sorry, there were a whole bunch of more invites sent out to games, and they didn't see them, and even some that missed them, it took a while to get them. I had to send messages, and those that answered my request for a chat got the games going. So, maybe you just didn't have time today to play all those games, or play for 3-4 hours. I don't know. Sometimes you do and sometimes you don't, but I'm happy to play these games and give you a chance to play a game where you get challenged and the pressure's on to make the moves and something to analyze after, because all you're playing well. My play gets limited because I'm having to play 6 of you at once. In effect, the 90-30 game divided by 6 gives me about 15 minutes with a 5-second increment, right? Not my ideal time control. So, as you saw, I blundered my queen in one game, threw that away. And did I lose another one too besides that? No, that was the only one I lost. Trying to do some fancy maneuvering. Just didn't see all the obvious rook d2, a move that I would see in a long game. And didn't really get any gifts here either. Nobody played all that poorly. Uh, but, for those that are trying to learn to think like me, you don't have to calculate long advanced variations. I mean, even this one I just administered a mate, and I didn't even see the mate right away. What I was doing was I was seeing ways to check him so that I could pick up a piece with check, and at the same time remembering not to allow that D pawn to coronate on me and become a major nuisance. I didn't even see the mate one that was sitting there staring me. Does that mean I'm a bad player? No, it just means I'm a little slow on tactics. But give me time, and I have time in a game. I'll do fine. So you say, okay, get him in time pressure. Well, it's not. How are you going to get me in time pressure when I can take an average of 3 minutes a move and find the best move more often than not? I'll only go into time pressure if I make a bad move and really have to work to try to save a position. So I do my best in a long standard time control game where you have an average of 3 minutes a move, and I play at solid master strength. So you can too, but you can see the way I'm calculating all these things out. I'm not going into deep analysis. I'm just looking at squares. I'm looking at getting pieces to squares where they can do things, and lo and behold, once you get them to those squares, things start coming up. And granted, everyone could play. My opponents could play. Had to make a mistake for the ones I'm winning. They had to make a mistake to let me in. But when you keep the pressure on, you increase the chance of them making a mistake, and then they learn from it, and they get the practice of an intense game where they can sit down and concentrate against someone that not only knows what they're doing, but can also help them when they analyze the game after and watch this long video. Okay, so back to here. He's played G5, and I have a happy choice of F5 or Rook A7. Rook A7 attacks his bishop, and if he moves his bishop, I get Rook takes F7 check. So he needs to play King F8, then I can play F5. And then I'm getting ready for F6. He's got problems. So I think Rook A7 first is the correct move. Rook A7, King F8, F5. And his bishop is kind of stuck. I'm threatening to play F6 and then gobble up some pawns. So F5 first could work. It could transpose, but I also have to make sure I don't run into something where Rook takes C4 messes me all up. Let me just scout the other games to make sure I'm not dropping my time. Okay, Bishop A3. He's stopping me from playing C5. Okay, what if I play? What if I play Knight C5, Knight C3 check here? Okay, do I want to play that? Puts his king on B4, and let's see. To mate him, I need control of B4. What if I bring my bishop back to E3 now? Just play a little subtle maneuvering here. Okay, now let me make sure. Okay, this game is over. I'll come back and look at that. I got to make sure I'm not going to run out of time anywhere. I have 20 minutes left here. No, I'm not going to trade rooks. I'm going to check you and be a nuisance. Let's see. Where do I want to play the rook to B6? Rook B6, he plays King C7. Check him. Okay. Now the happy choice here. Let me check the time again. Okay, I have 7.5 minutes here. And here I'm planning to play Bishop D2 and Knight B6 mate. Easier said than done, right? Somebody moved. Okay, he put his king there. Now I swing the rook over here and bother his g-pawn. Trying to get some pawns off the board. Okay. Now, I just heard a click. Somebody's move. Okay, I'll come back and look at that game in a few minutes. Okay. Now, let's see. How do I want to do this? Uh, let's take squares away from bishop c1. No, bishop d2. I'm trying to get a mate here. Bishop d2. What if? Yeah, I'm trying to administer some kind of a mate trick here. Okay, back to this one. Rook a7. He plays king f8. I play f5. Now the threat is f6. His bishop moves. I take on f7. So rook a7 it is. Okay. Now we check him again. Okay. Knight d4. Now let's see. He wants my pawn. Okay. Well, I'm going to try to get a pass pawn on this side of the board. F4. Okay, king f8. Now f5. And we hope that rook takes c4 doesn't bust me. Okay, now where did my rook come from? b7. I put it on. Where I put it back on b7 or c7? Yeah, I put it on b7. Okay. All right. He's attacking me. I can play knight c3 check. King a3. Bishop a1 check. King b4. Just don't quite have a mate. I'm trying to get a mate here. Pawn takes. You can take back with a knight. What if I just put the bishop on c3? It's all about squares. Okay. King b8. Now where do I put my rook? Let's put it back on g7. Just because I can. Okay. Let me make sure. Okay, I have 36 minutes here. I have plenty of time. I have 7 minutes here. I don't have plenty of time. I won this game. Well, I want to give it a quick review. I have 20 minutes here. Let's give this a quick review. Oops, it's his move. Okay, now he's allowing. He can't take. If I take the pawn, I lose the power of the double of the connected pawns, but he can't take it or he drops a piece. So, what if I check? Wait, I got 35 minutes. I'm going to have to come back. Okay, put his knight there. What's he threatening? Anything I should worry about? Let's take here, right? I'll create an outside pawn majority. Okay. Now, okay, king back. Now I put the rook back on b7. Okay, I gotta make sure. Okay, he took there. I gotta make sure I don't lose some time here. Okay. Okay, let's count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 moves for a queen. 1, 2, 3, 4. And his bishop doesn't get back. Okay, I'll just take this off. And I think I win that. Okay, now, do I want to play e6 or do I want to play pawn takes? Pawn takes, he can put his bishop on c5. I can play, rook a8 is mate. Yeah, I just take his pawn, I think. We'll see what happens. Okay, I'm going to offer a draw here. Offer a draw. Do you want a draw? Drawn by a meme. Okay, good. Game over. All right, now I'm down to 2 games. I've got to review these 2 real quick at some point. Okay, now I'm planning on getting a passed pawn on this side of the board. Okay, I have 6 minutes and 57 seconds left. I shouldn't lose on time. Let's give this one a quick... Oh, it's moving again on me. Whose move is it? No. Okay, that one... That game's over as a draw. I should have lost that one. This one's over. Okay, you're moving on me. King A3. Okay, I don't mind about that. Here comes my queen. My knight is dominating. Your bishop probably can't get back in time. Let's see. King 10. Okay. 8. Okay, let's count it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're 6 moves from a queen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm 5 moves from a queen. Your bishop can get to c3. My knight's close enough to stop your pawn. And then I have a c pawn to boot. Okay. Isn't this checkmate? What am I missing? Yep. Okay, now I'm down to one game. Okay. Okay, somebody sent me a... Okay, I don't know. I don't know who sent me a thing. Okay, king b2. H6. Okay, now let's see. I can always put the knight on b4 at the right moment, but I'll get a queen first. So here I'm not unable to catch up on all the games, but I get a queen first. And I'm checking you. Let's see. How do I want to do this? If I check on, let's see. Where's my queen? I'll just dump him on d4 for a moment. That'll go back to the right square. Okay. Queen b8 check. King c1. Oh, he's getting ready to put his queen on, or his queen. So I got to keep checking him. So a2 is the way to do it. Start approaching him that way. I mean h2. Then h1, g2, zigzag my queen across. Okay. Yeah, worst comes to shove, I have to give up my queen, and I can still win this. Simply because I have a great knight, and... Okay, I have 8 minutes now. We just start checking him a little bit more. And I have 8.5 minutes. Let's run through some of the... Oh, it says move again. Let's see, where is it? Here? No. Here? What game was it? This game. Okay, now you come back. Now I gain some time on the clock. And then I can go ahead and review one of these. Okay, let's take this back to the beginning. I'll catch up on that game. Okay, I want to get some games reviewed until we're down to one game. Okay, so here I've taken... Oh, every time he moves it bottles me up. Ah. Interesting. Wasn't looking for that. Let's see. I can play knight b4 here. That's a tricky move. Knight b4. If king takes, I take. So knight b4, king takes b4, queen takes a2. If he promotes, I play knight c2 check. And now my knight goes to c2 and gobbles his queen. So what can he do against knight b4? He can't. Okay. So yeah, he's got some space here. But him launching his kingside pawns created some weaknesses, and now I'm kind of playing for squares, and I send my pieces back over to the king side, and this gave me the e4 square, and now I just developed didn't want to take that bishop on g5, and I'm glad I didn't. It turned out to be a bad piece. Now he's going for some tactics here. He gets a powerful passed pawn, but he just doesn't have enough. I pick up this pawn, and he's weak on the king side. And I just start threatening checks and stuff, and Now I get my pawns rolling, and he has to save his bishop. But here he runs into a trick. He's going to drop his queen. He loses it for a rook. Now I just improve the position of my pieces. And then, oops, what's his move? Okay, so now knight takes a2, and that'll do it. Okay, so back to this game. Okay, I think he resigned. Okay, looks like the simul's over, but I have to cover all these games on the video. Thanks everyone for playing. Let's see. So he got his rook active, and he wants to lure the queen away, and then push his pawn to d2 and give a check and try to get that pawn queening. But I just start finding ways to. I want to pick up that bishop with check, and I do. And now he gets mated. He needed to get his pawn up to the 7th rank as quick as possible. So that was against CO3. Where's that one? I'll close that one. Thanks for your game. Now let's see what else was left. This game ended in a draw. This was horrible. I was so lucky here. Okay, I just bungled a pawn. Let's see. So, I was laughing at knight g4. It's not a bad move. What do I need to do? I played c3 and lose a pawn. What do I need to do here? Is there a fly in the ointment here? Maybe I need to play h3 and just kick it out and accept a weakness of a weakness. I think h3 should probably suffice. Oh well. Anyway, c3. I just followed the routine. Now there's all of a sudden there's this fork, and all I can think of is try. And I probably should have played bishop before force f5 and keep off. He didn't take that pawn, and I'm just kind of like going for some kind of a blockade here, if you could call it that. I got these horrible thing, and knights work better in closed positions, so I give up both of them. Both bishops, and I'm inviting him to take back, and he finally does, straightening my pawns out, and I just chase him around a little bit, and finally he takes. And black should probably be winning this, but I've got some play. I get the open file, and I'm not going to go in the ways he should win this, but I've got some activity. But good for you to look up and figure out how to win. You can't lose. You've got the luxury that you're not losing. Now we repeat the position, and the game ends in a draw. Thank you so much. Let's see these other games. What time is it? Okay, I see the time. Okay, now that left these two games. This one I got a mate. This was a tricky game. I was trying to get the better bishop and a bishop opposite color ending, and I was getting it, but it took a lot of maneuvering. So he probably had adequate resources in there to hold, but I just try to keep the pressure on. Maybe he should have taken at some point on b2 and had his rook on the 7th rank. And at least my king would be shut in, and I may need it. But slowly but surely, I'm starting to make some progress here. And he's got a monster pass pawn, but that was probably a mistake because I'm starting to make some progress here. And now I think he has to go back to d8, and I can check with the rook, king to e8. I can stick the rook on h7. I don't know. Something for you to look at afterwards. I can't do all the analysis, but thanks for the game, Gremmel. And that leaves this other game here. Tricky maneuvering one. So what was my score? 4 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw. I'll take it. Okay, boom. Okay. So I had that e4 pawn pinned, and he trying to work my way out of it, and I came up with that idea to try to create weaknesses. And h4, and this creates a weakness that I'm having to work on. I think he could have covered them all, but I had to go through a lot of tricky maneuvering here. And I anticipated the knight coming back and sticking the knight on h2, not the king. Okay, and h5 doesn't go away, but unfortunately he lost that pawn. I don't know what happens if he doesn't lose it. We got the rooks off. It's still pretty level. But here he loses the pawn. He didn't have to lose the pawn, but it's still a game if he. I don't know what's going to happen. Just have to play it and find out. But now I'm winning the pawn, and it's just a matter of attrition. And now you get your knight stuck, and you have to give up another pawn. So now it's just a matter of grinding you down. Here's trying to work out ways to checkmate you, and I couldn't find any. And just kept the pieces on the board. Finally get a pass pawn, and now I just did counting and queening, and I could have found other ways to do this. I could have put the knight on. Well, not yet. Not yet. So I could put the knight on b4 now, and then it goes to c2, and you can't stop it. Made it interesting. Okay, check, up, check, up, check. Now you came over there, threatening a queen. It's protected, but I have this clever move, and you're going to lose your pawn. And there it goes. And game over. So thanks to all that played. Thanks for wearing me out. It was a lot of work. Thanks for watching this video, which is now almost 3 hours long. The simul lasted a little longer than that. I'm sorry those that I tried to send challenges to. I did send challenges to you. You were in live chess, but you didn't see them, but I caught a few of you. Anyway, thanks so much for playing me, and thanks so much for your time. Take care.